And of course, weather alerts are such a big concern with all the smoke in the air. It looks like we're doing okay as far as the smoke. A lot of it's at the very upper levels, so it looks very ominous, but it's not actually getting to the ground, at least in our area. We may get a little here and there. For now, though, the only weather alert we're dealing with is along the coastline is the potential for some dense fog. So I guess that's actually good news. We kind of want that fog to sort of sit on our coastline, push in a little bit of much needed coastal moisture. At least that helps the firefighters for any of the fires that are actually getting the benefit of that little bit of ground moisture. Goleta today only 71. Many areas, minus a few areas, were actually cooler than expected, all because of the variable now, which is that high atmospheric level smoke. It's actually shrouding the sunshine, keeping the sunlight from hitting the earth, so we're not getting quite as warm as our forecast models and our forecasters believe, all again because we have this variable now with so much smoke at the upper levels. So many of the coastal areas were really cooler than normal. While you went just a little bit inland, if you got a little break in the smoke, you actually saw quite a bit of warming compared to some of our other areas with all that smoke. Along the Pacific Northwest, unfortunately, they're going to stay at least above normal temperature-wise for the next day or so. Good news is they should see some relief coming off the ocean. For us, though, as we head farther south, onshore flow remains fully in control. A little storm system, that might bring a little bit of rain to the Pacific Northwest. I'll show you that again in a minute. We look at our tropics, boy, we sometimes forget about that when we're dealing with such dry conditions and fire. We do have a couple of systems we need to watch, both in the eastern Pacific, and the Atlantic has been winning the race this year as far as the alphabet, hands down. Look what happens right here. Boom, and then all the way stacked off to Africa are more systems. We'll go ahead and focus on the ones right now that we need to keep an eye on. Renee doesn't appear to be much of a threat to anybody. Paulette will likely do a little bit of a right hook and go back into the Atlantic, so good news there. It's Sally we have to watch closely. So again, Paulette runs off like that, although fairly potent storm, probably will kick some surf toward the east coast, but not really expecting much out of that. It's Sally that we have to watch out for, because Sally's going to get across the peninsula of Florida, get into the Gulf. It's very warm, and that means more energy, and then it's going to likely cruise up into the Gulf right here and give us an upper hook into Mississippi and Louisiana, perhaps Alabama, and even the Florida Panhandle are all going to be dealing with this. There's not a lot of miles between those areas, so several states will likely be dealing. As far as us, well, look at that marine there. Thank goodness for that. It's going to linger the next few days, maybe the next several days. Future rainfall for us, nothing. We're not seeing anything. No real hope for Northern California, unfortunately, but look at over my shoulder. The Pacific is pushing some energy toward Oregon and Washington. Not much, but at least it's going the opposite of what it was about a week ago when all these fires really started to blow up. And that means we could get some sprinkles on the actual fires, which is really good news. As far as your temperatures on Sunday, we'll warm into the 80s and 90s inland. Not quite as warm, obviously close to the beaches. Monday, we see a similar pattern. And of course, we are watching the smoke over the next couple of days. And this is light amounts right here for us. At the very upper levels, of course, it's a lot thicker, and that's why that sun has looked so ominous. The orange looks like you'd expect to maybe smell and see a lot of ash outside, but we're not really getting that. It's kind of going right over the top of us. Not the same story for those areas to our north. Look at how much there is, and this is actually an improvement as we head toward Monday and Tuesday. That little storm system hopefully will start to dampen some of this fire and, of course, put down some of that smoke. Air quality won't be spectacular by any stretch of the imagination, but at least we're doing decent. We're not in the unhealthy range right now. That could change. There are some thoughts that if that smoke at the upper levels does sort of collapse on top of us at any point, we could see our air quality really go down the tubes, so to speak. Morning fog, haze, and of course the smoke at the upper levels. It won't be a blue sky for much of us for at least the foreseeable future. That's really an unfortunate side note, is how white the skies are and even brown at times. Haze, smoke lingering for the central coast and down into Ventura County. Same story there. We're going to be dealing with this, the cloud cover in the mornings and the smoke throughout the day, and mild to warm temperatures.